Welcome to the night club. Today we're doing our last lesson in chapter 7. We are factoring polynomials completely, which I don't really like the title of that because we've been factoring polynomials completely this whole time. But now we have a little extra thing, okay? We're going to learn, which I've already showed you this once, how to factor by grouping, okay? So, let's go. Here we go. Grouping means you just group the part of the polynomial. You have two parts, okay? Because does the whole polynomial have a common factor? Does the whole thing have a common factor? No, but the first two have a common factor and the second two have a common factor. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're going to group them together. What's the first common factor of the first two? One what?
X.
More.
1x.
X what?
2.
X 2. X squared. Okay, so we're going to take the x squared out. Over here, divide by x squared, divide by x squared. What do we have left? 1 what? 1 what? X cubed over x squared is what? Not 2x. X cubed over x squared. X. That means on top we have how many x's? 3 of them. On bottom we have 2. Cancel, cancel. You have 1 left. Or you just say 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay? So x. Here the x squareds cancel. We're left with 3. Okay? You can always check it. Just in your mind, distribute it back in and make sure you get your question back. Okay? What about the second 2? What do they have in common? 2. Take out the 2. Divide by 2. What will you have when you divide those by 2? Okay? Now, they both have what in common? X plus 3. So I can bring that out front. Just like I brought x squared out front of here, and just like I brought 2 out in front of there. So that'll be x plus 3 times, if I bring those out front, what do I have left?
X squared plus 2.
Done.
That's it?
That's it.
So if you don't get the same number and variable,
You are finished. If you're talking about here?
yes, if you
Correct. If you don't get the same thing in the parentheses, which by the way, you should, okay? Because they're going to give you problems that should work. But if you don't, you're done. Okay?
What about solving it?
Solving it, if it said solve, we would just take both of these and set them equal to what? 0 and keep going. Okay? Now, you do have to watch out. This is plus 2. If you have a binomial and it's plus here, you know you're finished. You can't factor that any further. All right? So, B here. Excuse me, sorry. Sometimes A was ready for us, B is not. Why is B not? What's wrong with B?
it'd be x squared plus x plus y. No, plus xy plus y.
X squared plus X plus what?
xy
Plus
y.
Y. Very good. Now we can group them together. Okay, we can. Do these two have a common factor?
No.
No. Do these two? No. So we had to move them around where they would have a common factor. Okay. So now these two, what's the common factor?
X.
X. And if you divided both of those by X, what do you have?
X.
Plus X over X is 1. X squared over X is X. X over X is 1. Plus, what can I take out of here? What do they have in common? Y. Divide by Y, divide by Y. Y cancels, you're left with X plus 1.
Is it normally going to end up?
It will normally end up having the same thing. Okay? Now that they both have X plus 1, where can I put that?
Outside.
In the front. So X plus 1 times X plus Y.
Do you have the 2 on the outside of it, or those only for like the special ones?
The 2.
Yeah, like outside of the thing, the boxes, whatever things are called. I have no idea.
The parentheses? What,
Yeah.
we're talking about 2.
If you know, like the one that we did last week, where it's like that.
We never had any.
Oh, I know she's talking about where they both have the same thing.
Oh, yes, you have the same thing. You put parentheses squared.
Okay.
Yeah, but we don't have the same thing. X plus 1 and X plus Y are not the same.
Guess what? You came along.
Everybody good? All right, let's try more of these.
How many examples do we have anyway?
Was it like 3? Yeah, 3, so 6.
Yes, that's gonna be a good game because Alabama don't have any.
All right.
I need to forget how to. I don't know. Like after I took this spread, I was like, monkey.
So for A, do these first, and then do those. So what's the first group? What do they have in common? X squared. Okay. Divide by X squared. Divide by X squared. What's left? Plus 4. Plus, what do these have in common? 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2, what's left?
X plus 4.
X plus 4. They both have a what now?
X plus 4.
Move it to the front.
Huh?
And what are you left with?
X squared plus 2. What was that one that you just said?
Okay.
Why do you look at old Korean things?
Any questions on A? Easy enough?
Sure. You have shades on. And a.
Tyler, take your time.
That's why I said he kind of looks like an old Chinese kind of thing. He's just like speaking stuff.
Everybody good? You got a copy? Awesome.
She tasted it. She tasted that resist. I like how this is also on video. Oh yeah. Can't be saying.
Is this one in the right order?
No.
No, so how do I need to move it around?
Move X to Y.
Move this where?
To the back.
To the back. Move it to the back. So it's going to be X squared plus 2X plus 2XY plus
4Y.
4Y.
So you don't make the Y the full Y negative because you moved it?
No, because I didn't move it from one side of the equals to the other. I'm just moving it to a different spot in the same side.
Oh, okay.
You got me? Okay. So the only time you can do it opposite is if you're moving it to the other side of the equal sign. And we don't have equal signs on here. I put that equal sign.
Wait, will we have an equal
Okay.
sign?
You might, if it says solve, but if it just says factor, you won't. Okay? All right, so here, what do they have in common?
X.
X. Take the X out, what's left?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. Here, what do they have in common?
Y.
Y.
Wait, what?
2Y. Very good. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, it is.
2Y, and what's left?
X plus 2.
Plus 2. What do they have in common now?
X plus 2.
Move it out front. And we have X
X plus 2Y.
plus 2Y left. Okay? And again, this is called factoring by grouping, because you're just grouping the different parts of the polynomial together. All right? Everybody good? Okay. Example type number 2.
Yo, you gotta chill out. Chill out. I'm trying to write.
You
Yeah, chill.
Writing a 4, it looks like an 8.
Oh, I'll see him.
All right. Factor. Okay? Again, do you see any equals?
No.
No, because we're just factoring. Okay? So for A, always, what do you look for first when you're factoring?
The things that are equal.
A common factor. What will go into both of them? Okay? So 3, 6, and 18. What will go into 3, 6, and 18?
2.
3.
3? What? Oh, yeah.
2
Oh,
will
yeah.
go into 3.
Oh, my
Okay, 3. So 3, x squared, or x cubed, x squared, and x. What do they all have in common? What's the smallest one? X. So I'm going to take out 3x. Okay? Those cancel. What's left here? X what? X squared. Taking 1 off, right? Plus 6 divided by 3 is 2x minus 6. Okay? Can you factor this is the question you need to ask yourself. Is there two numbers that multiply to be negative 6 and add up to 2? Negative 6. We don't have very many that multiply to be negative 6. You got 6 and negative 1. Okay? Negative 6 and positive 1. 2 and negative 3. Negative 2 and positive 3. Is anything else multiply to give you negative 6? Do any of those add up to 2? No. So we are done. That's as far as we can go.
Will those have like solve on it? Like solve?
It'll just say what?
Just factor.
It'll just say factor. Okay?
Now I'm. Well, we just did there to get that.
Factor.
Yes.
What about it?
I don't know.
The only factoring we had to do was to factor out the greatest common factor.
Yeah,
now,
we
is
have to
it
do
possible after we factored out, can we factor more? It is possible. It just wasn't on this particular problem.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I got you. So like part B, what do they have in common? 7 and 28 would just be 7. X to the 4th and x squared would be x squared. Colin. You just pick the smallest one. 7 and 28 would be 7. X to the 4th and x squared, the smallest one is what? X squared. Okay? So divide these by 7x squared. And we have left x squared minus 4. Correct? Can I factor that? It's the difference of two perfect what? Two perfect squares, right?
I wrote that down somewhere.
So 7x squared, that will be x and x. What's the square root of 4? 2. So we put plus 2 and minus 2. Remember we did these on Friday, where if they have to multiply to be negative 4, and since we don't have an x in the middle, they have to add up to be 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So this one we could factor more after we factored out the greatest common factor. A, we could not. Okay? So sometimes you can, sometimes you won't be able to.
On the task, can you put up the things that equal to a perfect square on the board?
I won't, because I'm letting you use your calculator. And if you want to know what they are, just write them down. Just do 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, 9.
Oh, okay.
That's all you got to do. 4 times 4, 16. 5 times 5, 25. And then you'll have them yourself. Okay? All right? Let's do another example like 2. Sir. All right, right here. A. Let me get rid of B real quick so we don't confuse it. All right, what do they have in common? 2, 6, and 2. 2, x to the 3rd, x squared, and x. X. So divide them all by 2x. X squared.
I mean 3x and
Minus
1.
1. Are there two numbers that multiply to be negative 1 and add up to 3? No, there's only two numbers that multiply to be negative 1, and that's negative 1 and positive 1. They don't add up to 3.
Question mark.
So we are done right here. Okay? So sometimes you're just going to take the greatest common factor out and you'll be finished. Other times, like on B, when I take out the greatest common factor, you got 5 and 45. So what's the greatest common factor between those two? 5.
Yep.
X to the 4th and x squared would be x squared. So divide by 5x squared.
That is not 9.
Yeah, it is. Stupid.
That is 8.
Are those both perfect squares? They are. Are we subtracting them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So square root of x squared would be x and x. Square root of 9 is 3 and negative 3. Okay? Everybody good? All right. One more.
Don't we normally go to like 5?
Normally.
How many questions, answers do we have today?
I can't reset
10.
right.
Really? What's it say?
Solve.
Solve. So, since it says solve, we need it equal to what? 0. So, 2x cubed plus 8x squared minus 10x. Here, Katrina, we do change the sign because we did move from one side of the equals to the other. Is that making sense? We're not just rearranging it. We're actually moving it from one side to the other. Okay? If you're just rearranging on the same side, you don't change any signs.
I was going to make a joke.
Okay. All right? Now, what's next? After we get it equal to 0, we what? Starts with an F, ends with an actor. Factor. Find a common factor would be 2. What about the letters? And x. They all have an x, yes? So take out 2x. That will be x squared and 4x minus 5 equals 0. Can we factor my trinomial here?
No.
Are there two numbers that multiply to be negative 5 but add up to 4?
Yes, I don't know that I don't remember what it is.
Well, there's not many numbers that multiply to be negative
Yeah, I
5.
just forgot the sign.
Oh.
5 and negative 1.
Yep.
Positive 5, negative 1, right? 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. 5 plus negative 1 is 4. Check and check. All right? And then now, the one difference between factor and solve is once we factor them, we set them equal to 0, which basically just means we do what? All these. Do the opposite, right? So this 2x, x would equal what? Nope. 0.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay? This one, the x plus 5, what's x going to be? Negative 5.
Said that one.
And for this one, x will be positive 1. Because remember, you're trying to figure out what makes these factors 0. Okay? Easy enough? So, like I said, it's doing the same thing you've been doing pretty much the whole lesson. You're just factoring first and then factoring some more. Okay? Let's try one more.
Hang on. Oh, yes.
I hope one back is some state.
What happened,
He's
Coach?
gonna
What
kick
happened?
you out.
Hopefully that's it.
I just took down the full style.
I told you.
Yes, you did for no reason.
They climbing that
I
thing.
can't help that.
Yes, you can.
Yes, we can. Should have been born like
Probably
that.
like a genetic.
You don't.
First step, always get it equal to 0. So we move this over. So we change the sign. Minus 24x. Okay? 3, 6, 24. What goes into all of them? 3. X cubed, x squared, x. X. Divide by the common factor. Okay? So we get x squared plus 2x minus 8. Can we factor that trinomial?
Yes.
Yes, there are two numbers that multiply to be negative 8 and add up to 2. 4 and what? Positive 4, negative 2. Again, check it real quick. 4 times negative 2, is that negative 8? Yes. 4 plus negative 2, is that 2? Yes. And now we set all three of these equal to 0. So what would make this one be 0? 0. What would make this one be 0? And what would make this one be 0? Positive 2. Okay? Y'all good? All right. Hope you enjoy this lesson at home. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. And as always, stay above the line.